problem. Okay, boom, we're on with the Tru-Mon show. Let's see before we start if we're live on YouTube. Because this morning I had problem with Pilot Helix. It wasn't broadcasting live. So let me check. Yeah, I think we're live now. Yeah, this one is live. Okay, now we're on live. I have it on the other screen. This morning I have a lots of echo, Santos. I don't know if you can solve the problem for me. I can hear myself a lot.
Try that. How's that?
Okay.
Better?
Oh, that's better. That's way better. Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, that's it. This morning I had some kind of technical difficulties. I was a bit nervous. I thought I was going to lose the whole hangout. For some reason, I don't know, I pressed on start and the whole thing didn't broadcast live, but it was recorded. So, but now we're live. I see people are watching live, 12 watching now. So now I know I'm live. You know, live and learn. Live and learn. That's what it is. I don't have this all pre-written inside me. Now I'm living and learning. So Babylon is falling. Babylon is falling. The fire is blazing. The fire is blazing big time. And it's falling. And we're back here tonight on the Tru-Mon show with Santos Bonacci. Saturday night live on the Tru-Mon show with Santos and Melissa. Of course, Melissa, welcome. You're from Australia, just like Santos. So it's a great honor for me to, again, share these beautiful moments with you guys.
Thank you for having me.
It's
I look
my
forward
pleasure.
to seeing what Santos teaches us today.
Yeah, that's it. It's always about teaching. Each one teach one, and Santos is a man very, very knowledgeable, and we all, you know, I don't know too many people on YouTube that doesn't, you know, like I said, it's to take information from a lot of people, and you make your own thing with it. You make your own conclusion, and Santos has a lot of stuff to offer. So that's why I love hanging out with Santos. And today I want to start, Santos, maybe with where maybe that has to do a bit with magnetism or stuff, but you can tell me, because of the question that came through the chat, the last hangout we had, and the question was, what's the real deal with precious metals, stone, diamonds, and gold? What's the real deal with that, according to you, to your research?
Oh, gee, that's a big one. The precious metals, obviously, these elements were known. Copper was known thousands of years ago. Tin, iron. Probably they were working with most of the metals and elements that we have today. Copper, silver, gold, these are conductors of electricity. Okay, so they're very stable. Elements that are stable are precious because they last longer. And so if you want an asset in your family, you buy a lump of gold, you put it in a vault, and your family's gonna, you know, it's not gonna, like a piece of bread, it's not gonna go rotten in 6 months in the vault, right? It'll stay there forever. So it's a means of control, I would say. It doesn't have to be. But the banking families that go way, way back to Babylon, Egypt, Persia, Greece, I would say the most powerful banking families in Italy, of the black nobility, Venetian families, Roman oligarchs, they would be Persian mostly, and then probably Egyptian. Persian and Egyptian, put it that way. And then, of course, there's a lot of Babylonian stuff in Rome and a lot of Greek. But it's all empire. It's all fused into one sort of a body. You know, what Rome has gleaned and learned from the ancient powers, and especially about metals and mining and how to make things. There's nothing wrong with all this. This is technology. It's beautiful. You know, we're clever. We can go out in the sinister left-hand brain and do all of our analyzing and technology. The right hemisphere, if we had more of this in balance, we would be using those metals a lot more, you know, in a lot more beneficial way for humanity. And so what's happening is the spiritual right brain, where we create on the spiritual plane, has been taken over by the material brain. Most people are materialists. They haven't crossed the Red Sea, the corpus callosum in the middle, to go to the right, which is right. They're staying in this left hemisphere, which is all material. It's not evil, but the left brain, the masculine side, it's all logical, it's all linear, and this is where knowledge of metals and knowledge of technology really is practiced. Here, this is the practicing side. You know, this is like the side that goes out in the material world and makes sense of it. Whereas here, a lot of people are not building anything on a spiritual plane. For instance, you know, like millionaires, they build a tower in the middle of the city and they put their name on the top of the tower, and they're so proud of their material achievements. That's all good. It's great to point at your material, you know, achievements made of the elements of the earth, but what else are they building? You know, once upon a time, the rich aristocracy were also funding all the schools, all the learning, all the hospitals and herb science and astrology. And so they were equally building in the material world with their left sinister sin brain, and they were also building on the spiritual plane and contributing in that way. So I don't know whether I answered your question very well there, brother, but metals are definitely conductors of energy, and the elite know that, and they're also stable, some of them, most of them, and so it's for them, it's real money, not currency, real money.
Is it something that one day will run out of gold, will run out of diamonds, or is something that is renewed, like the oil inside the earth? You know, like, where do they come from? Like some, you know, when the giant trees hype came out, everybody thought that precious stones were coming from giant trees. So what's your take on that?
Well, yes, you know, everything is a Taurus bull. So everything is toroidal. The whole nature of atoms, universes, galaxies, whatever you want to call them, planets. So Earth has her minerals, and like our body, see, our body is in proportion to the Earth. The Earth is mainly, you know, the things that we're made of: carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen. Really, you'll find that that's what our body is, 94, 96% of our body. So, you know, we can actually suffer in trace minerals if we're not actually eating properly. So the Earth will also run out of her trace minerals, gold, silver, whatever, unless it's replenished properly. Now, in the past, the protectors of the world, of the Earth plane, the high aristocratic class that were protecting the Earth, they knew how to look after the Earth's resources, replenish them. And of course, there were alchemists who learnt how to even add to the gold supply by transmuting other elements. So there is a human science of transmuting elements that are deficient if we need them, but there's also, the Earth is wise beyond our understanding, and she will replenish all of her water supply, air. She looks after her own organism perfectly.
Because the way they were living 1,000 years ago and the way we live today is very, very different. I'm sure. Come on, I'm sure the consciousness might have been higher 1,000 years ago than it is today. We have so much stuff to control our minds, to control our everyday thinking, everything that we think. There's so much technology. We're so influenced by external stuff outside in our environment, close to us, that you know, maybe 1,000 years ago there wasn't cell phones, internet and stuff, and you know what was the connection with nature back then, and to take care of it was very different than today. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah, well, this Earth has hosted endless amounts of civilizations and cultures and ascension cycles. Earth has been giving back to the heavens many advanced and ascended masters and souls. Just as the sun is able to draw water up to the heavens with its magnetic power, the same is, as the Neoplatonists said, the sun is also drawing souls upward, forever upward. And as the sun draws souls, because that's what Sol Invictus does, he is the soul of the universe, or she, I should say, Radharani, the Queen of Heaven. But it's also the king. It doesn't matter. It doesn't get offended if the sun's spirit is called masculine or feminine. The sun is a servant. The sun is placed there by the creator to serve us and to serve the creator as well. So it's like a mediator. It is a middle energy, and it is mediating and moderating man's growth. And so what happens is the earth is giving, making human bodies, wrapping spirit souls with bodies, and then she is allowing, with her opportunities of harshness and loving kindness, polarity, opportunities to grow our soul. And the sun is also lifting the souls upward and the consciousness, so that we can become helio-gnostics or helio-conscious. So we can have Christ consciousness, and we can have we can live in the solar state rather than a planetary condition. Right now, humans are in planetary conditions. We are conditioned. We have many conditions. We have the conditions of vices and virtues, but they're all conditions. Our sight is limited. Our consciousness is limited. Everything is limited and conditioned, whereas God is unconditioned and unlimited. So the drawing mechanism that God uses, which is God, is the sun. And so the sun is all-knowing. It's not just an unconscious ball of or sphere or disc, whatever you think the sun is. It's not unconscious. It is it's very intelligent. Intelligence is everywhere, you know. An ant shows godly intelligence, a leaf. And so what the sun is doing is it is growing our consciousness so that the Christ consciousness will return. And so we will be of the solar state, not the planetary condition. And that's where we are escaping. The planetary miasma, which is like a humid blood. The earth has all kinds of smells. It's like putrefying stuff that is rotting, stuff that is growing. And so it is like a humid miasma which pollutes the spiritual condition of man and forces man to really contemplate things on the material plane. Nothing wrong with that. What is wrong with it is if that's all there is. If we're only creating here from the sinister side on the mundane plane, then nothing spiritual is going on, and we're not creating a spiritual phenomena, spiritual reality. And so this is why the people who stay in the sinister brain are called sinners, because sinister means left. And if you don't want to be on the left where the goats are and the left-hand tantric path is, you want to go where the sheep are on the right and the right-hand tantric path, and honor the Christ energy by returning the Christ fluids back up to the head where it wants to return, where it came from, and therefore it's done its full cycle. And see, by too much drinking, too much smoking, too much sex, and at the wrong time, and the wrong kind of sex, we are actually burning that oil, and we become like the 5 foolish virgins who have no extra oil in their receptacles. And when the bridegroom comes, we're empty. And because we don't have any denarii, we haven't got any talents that we've, invested with the banks, or in other words, we don't build the gifts. The seeds that were planted in our hearts don't grow. Everyone has a seed of love in their hearts. Everyone loves something. Even the most evil person, you'll see him turn around and he'll kiss a flower, or he will put his you know, his or her best perfume on because they love that perfume, drive in their favorite car, go and visit their favorite friends, kiss their children goodnight and tell them bedtime stories. But during the day, they'll, you know, call their hitmen to go and kill 40 or 30 innocent people and send them to jail for nothing. And they will practice their evil for greed, but you'll see that there's still a seed of love there. And we all have seeds of wisdom. What are we doing with it? Intellect. What are we doing with it? And all of these things. So we have many opportunities to be released from the planetary condition of Earth and embrace the high consciousness, which is solar. It's purely solar. The sun is the hero. He is Hercules. He is Jesus. He is Christ, Krishna, Radharani. All archetypes must go through the sun at the highest level before they go back to cause. The sun is the chief representer and archetype of all archetypes. Everything is invested in the sun. The sun is the hero of glory, the life giver, the vital organ of the universe, the heart of the universe, the soul of the universe, the intelligence of the universe. It is our God. It's not the material sun that we worship. It's not even the soul of the sun. It's the spirit of the sun, which is the spirit of God, which is in all things. And so by honoring the sun and the moon and other people, we honor the creator who put them there in the first place.
Yeah. And talking about the sun, you know, this morning I was talking to Pilot Alex, and do you think it's possible, like, that I asked him if it was possible to chase the sun in the sky with his plane, like if he can do a 90-degree turn and start chasing the sun and catch it. And his answer, Santos, was, they say that the Earth is turning at 1,000 miles an hour. Well, could the sun be traveling at 1,000 miles an hour in the sky? What do you think about that? Because you look at it from my point of view here, I see it going very slow in the sky, like it's moving on the 24 hours thing over that flat plane or whatever you want to call it, where we are. I don't know where we are. It's very confusing. I cannot tell you exactly where we are in that shapeless realm where we are. You know, so what's your take on that? Is the sun moving super fast in the sky, or is just a perspective effect because of my point of view where I am? Or, you know, if the higher you go in the sky, you should like be able to catch it or something, or go. But apparently, like, you can't catch the sun. It's like, what's going on with that? Is it just anyway? It's very, very mysterious.
Well, it's like chasing the wind. It's like trying to find exactly where the rainbow is and chasing rainbows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are what you call
That's a tricky one.
The sun is obviously a projection. So, real scientists, real ones like Eric Dollard, Pierluigi Gina, Walter Russell, who have studied the sun for many, many years, know that the sun is not a ball of something physical. Okay, it has physical manifestations, the electrical arcing on the surface of the sun. That's the only arcing radiation that is going on at the surface. Inside the sun, there is nothing. It is cold and empty. Okay, that's why when you see a black spot on the sun, that's the veil of the sun, the veil of the temple, or the body of the sun where the arcing is, and it's being pulled back, and you're actually looking inside the sun, and it's black. It's like the shadow is there already of the sun, because there is a black sun behind the sun. Okay, so what the sun is it's a transmitter, and it transmits energy from counter space. So the transcendence or counter space is where everything comes from. It's a spiritual world. It's transcendental. It has no material properties, and all manifestations of phenomena come from the transcendence. Okay, so when you're talking about the sun see, people say that the Earth is spinning at 1,038 miles an hour at the equator. No, the Earth is stationary. It does not move. It's the sun turning above the Earth at that speed, but only at the equator. So the sun here at the equator is doing 1,035 miles per hour. Okay, can you see all that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the Tropic of Cancer. At the bottom here, this is the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, so from the summer solstice, the sun always does this every year. Goes up to Cancer, and as Bhagavad Gita says, the sun is on a ramp. It ramps up to Cancer, then it ramps down to Capricorn. So this is the sign of Capricorn, this is the sign of Cancer, and here is Aries and Libra. So when the sun is up here, obviously the sun is slower. It's probably about, let's put 800, I don't know, let's put 800 mile an hour, and down here you would put about, say, 1,300 mile an hour. But you might think, well, hang on a minute, no. Scientists don't acknowledge a variable speed sun. Okay, we'll get back to that. It's apparently variable speed, but in reality, there's only one speed, and that is one circle every 24 hours. Simple. So the sun is being directed by something at the North Pole, which is probably Mount Meru. All right, Mount Meru. This is like a magnetic mountain, they call it. Magnetic mountain, okay? And this could be, who knows? This could be, well, it's obviously the center of the Taurus field, which our Earth is a big Taurus field like that, and this is the center.
So you're talking about the mountain being a super mega magnet.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it controls the sun. So when you're talking about the speed of the sun, let's do an illustration, shall we?
Yeah. We're gonna go on a bit with that. I have many questions for you.
Okay. Well, I see here I've got a torch, right? Turn that torch on. Now, if this is, my body is Mount Meru, and the sun is, I'm shining my torch 2 meters away from my body, okay? So I'm drawing, as I turn around, I draw a 4 meter diameter circle, aren't I? That's 4 meters, yeah? It has to be, because if my light is reaching 2 meters in front of my foot, and I go back like this, and it's 2 meters behind my feet, that's 4 meters of circumference. Now, so let's call that the Tropic of Cancer. So whatever is controlling the sun here, and makes it appear in the sky where it is not, just like the rainbow, just like a shadow is not an entity of itself, right? So that's why the sun, we can't take the sun as something solid. It's a spiritual phenomenon. It's transcendental, both transcendental and material. So it's eluding us. This is why, yeah, it's eluding us. So if we grab my torch example, and we say that the sun is now here, and I'm doing this circle like that. Now, if I grab my torch and I point it 4 meters away, and I do the same circle at the same speed, I'm going 24 hours a day here, sped up, of course. Now I have a 4 meter radius, but an 8 meter diameter now. Before it was a 4 meter diameter, tight circle like this, going around.
Yeah.
And now I just extend the light out there, stick it out way further, and now the light is going around, appears to be going faster because it's going around a bigger circumference. It's like at the Olympics, you know, they've got say an oval track like this, and then you've got all the tracks on the inside like this, concentrically. Well, if this guy is going to run here all the time and he can't go over to this here, he's going to lose, because this guy here is going to win, because he's only going around 60 meters. This guy's going around 300 meters, right? So you could call that the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. And you could ask, well, is the sun actually physically traveling faster at Capricorn? No, it just appears to. Okay? It's like when you're in a train, the trees that are close to you, they're traveling that way really, really fast, whereas the trees on the mountain over there, they're moving slowly. But none of them are moving. It's an appearance. So all of this is set up as an appearance. This is how the Creator has intelligently made a system that our senses, unless we are extremely intelligent and intuitive, right-brained, we will never understand it, because we are materialists. And so the materialists can never, ever conceptualize how the true Taurus field really, really works, because their heart is not intelligent. And so now we mentioned before that scientists don't recognize a variable speed sun, but do they recognize a variable distance sun? Yes or no?
But yeah, they say it's fixed. They say it's fixed, the sun. So they don't say it's moving. They say it's the earth that moves.
True. But if you go to Wikipedia even, and you put these words in: perihelion, peri and apo. Or actually, I think there's an H here. Aphelion. Okay. Perihelion is the day, and it's perihelion is the 4th of January. Okay. 4th of Jan. That's when the sun is closest to the earth. According to heliocentrists. This is not flat earthers talking here. This is general conventional science, consensus science, okay, based on Copernican, because they had to acknowledge that the sun is always changing its distance to the earth. At Cancer, the sun is way higher in the sky and more distant to the earth than at Capricorn, and that's aphelion day. Sorry, that should be July. 4th of July and 4th of January. Now, so just after New Year's Day, when it's freezing winter in the Northern Hemisphere, the sun is closest to the earth, and heliocentrists say it's 4 million, or average 4 million miles closer to the earth here at Capricorn, aphelion. Sorry, perihelion. Peri means closest to. Apo means further away. So this is aphelion, and this is perihelion here. Please pay attention, man. And if there's any listeners out there who are still upside down on a Santa ball, pay attention, because your Santa ball teachers who are teaching you everything pseudoscience and upside down and demonic will tell you, because they have to. They can't deny this fact. The sun is further away from the earth at Cancer than it is at Capricorn. And that's a fact we all share in common, and we can start with that common ground if we want to start talking on a round table and coming to agreement about some of the things. This is one thing that we must agree on, because it is a fact in both models, or in any model. Doesn't matter what model you use. This is a fact. And you can only, I believe, and know, you can only explain the variable distance sun and variable speed sun like this. There is no other way. There is no other way. It doesn't work heliocentrically, doesn't work when the sun's 93 million miles away. It just doesn't work.
Now, that brings me to another question that I have. Could the sun be further away than what flat earth model people tell us? Because it doesn't make sense, really, that the sun is only 3,000 miles up in the sky. When I look at it from here, my viewpoint, and even the speed doesn't make sense to my eyes. Like I would see it, like if I'm on the ground, I see a jet airplane coming from far. I cannot notice the speed. I just see it coming. But the moment it passes over my head, I'm going to hear it. Phew, it's going to fly. I'm going to notice the speed. So why I don't notice the speed of the sun at 800 miles an hour in front of my face when it's right in front of me? But it's very, very slow. I notice so this is the problem that I have, matching that speed with my visual observation. I'm very mixed up in all this.
Yeah, well, this is because this is our perception. Unfortunately, our perception and the bending nature of light. Light, for a start, there are no particles, and there are no particles traveling at all in a direct line. All magnetic light is curvilinear. Okay, it's all curvilinear. So when it comes out of the transit, let's say this is the center, this is the, let's put the Earth here where I put it, eh? The Earth, here is the Earth's transcendent point. This is counter space. And so from here, everything in our solar system comes from here. And there is another argument that says everything in the solar system comes from the center of the sun. Well, I think it's both. It's this torus field here, paradise, the Garden of Eden. This is the material center of the universe, the Malkuth, the Earth plane. Okay, so what happens is this energy, as the creative energy comes out and goes this way and that way at the same time. There's your sine wave, right? As it does that, this all-knowing transcendental point knows how much to exert its energy so that it reaches this point. Somehow it knows its Tropic of Cancer, and all waves first diverge centrifugally, and they will hit their top where the maximum of their energy can be extrapolated in one divergent direction. Once it hits that point, it then has to converge centripetally, and then the energy is always reclaimed. It's always returned to the source and recycled yet again. And this is how all cycles work. All cycles work like this because all things are magnetic, and this is how magnetism works in torus fields. Okay, so your question was the sun, how it's very hard to see. It looks like it's moving really slow. Well, yeah, this is it, because, well, the sun, who knows? It might be 8,000 miles high. It's within the 10,000 mile range, depending on where it is here. I'm sort of leaning towards the 3,000 mark here at the equator, and probably 4,500, 5 up here, and 2.5, maybe 2,000 here.
It varies in altitude.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, if that is too hard to fathom, that the sun could be 3,000, let's make it 3,000 here, 4,000 at the top at Cancer, and 2,000 down the bottom, all right, for argument's sakes. Well, that's only a variable of about 2,000 miles, whereas mainstream conventional science give you 4.5 million miles.
Yeah.
So when you reduce the scale, you realize what's going on. It's more in this range here, obviously, because that discrepancy of distance, it has to be factored in. The fact that the sun is variable height must be factored into all models. It doesn't matter which model you're going to use. And so you can't escape this. And you cannot escape the fact that the sun is variable speed. Now here is how the mainstream precious academics will tell you that the sun is variable speed, because they say that all orbits are elliptical. Elliptical? So what's an elliptical orbit? Well, it's an orbit that is not perfectly circled. So it's more like an egg, yeah? Like that. Now, so they say the moon has an elliptical orbit around the Earth. The sun, the Earth's orbit around the sun, they say, is elliptical. Therefore, so if the Earth is going around this away, around the sun, there's the sun in the middle, and the Earth is in an elliptical orbit, which all orbits are elliptical, all of them. Well, we see, you'll understand why they're elliptical, because they're all conical, they're all in cones. It's not that they're traveling around in a football oval shape. No, it's because they are sections of a cone. So if you've got a cone like this, everything is conical in energy, and something is going around. Well, that's, you see, as it goes, there's always a disparity in the angle of its action. Well, see, that's an oval, that's elliptical, and that can be explained on flat Earth quite easily. But this is the point: if they're saying that all orbits are elliptical, well, then it must be faster here. We must be going way faster past the sun here at, say, this will be what they call Aries and Libra, the equinox, maybe. And here will be, well, no, actually, it's like this, actually. I've done that wrong, because they always put the main body sort of not in the middle here. They put it over to the left. So this will be summer, this will be winter, and this will be the equinox. Okay, so if that's so, well then, by their own teaching, by their own doctrine, and their own elliptical orbit nonsense, they are telling you that the sun is variable speed. It has to be.
Has to.
Okay, so but how they get away with it is through relativity, and they will say that the Earth is variable speed. Okay, well let's go along with them. Okay, let's humor the scientists. They'll say, well, the sun's not actually moving, although it's hurtling around the center of the Milky Way galaxy at a bazillion miles an hour, blah, blah, blah. It's actually the Earth in an elliptical orbit around the sun. Well, if that's so, then the Earth is a variable speed Earth. It has to be. If it's on, because when you go around here, you got to go slow. This is slow going. Here it's fast going. Slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, fast. This has to be fast here. It's like you said, when an aeroplane goes over your head, you hear the Doppler effect. Yeah. But it wasn't speeding any faster. It was always traveling at that distance. It's just that near your vicinity, it appears faster. It's not real faster. It appears to be faster. And that's your limited perspective and hearing, which causes you to limit the whole thing.
That allows me to perceive the sound and the effect of the speed also, but I should perceive the same thing from the sun. This is what or either it's very, very high, like that it's very high, we cannot perceive the speed that it's going to. Like, I mean, I don't know. When I see a plane in the sky, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with the plane. The plane are traveling at 500 miles per hour, but you don't see them going that fast. They don't seem to go that fast. And especially when they take off on the track, like if I go at 100 kilometers an hour in my car, it's much slower than what the plane is taking off, but I don't see like, you know, it's hard to intellectualize the speed that the object is going at. This is what I mean.
Yes, because you don't have any markers up there, like you know, like say 1 mile markers up in the sky to show you against the aeroplane to see how fast it's actually going against those markers. It's like just a big blue sky, and so you can't tell. And so this is why I wouldn't be physically chasing the sun as actually a ball. I would be positioning myself to follow its apparition, its you know, projection, like a rainbow. You know, if you move too much, you'll miss the rainbow, and the people just standing there 50 meters away, they will see the rainbow in its full glory. You're standing in the wrong spot, you can't see it, but it's there. They see it. It's just that your perspective, from your vantage point, you cannot see it. And so these are the tricks that we do need to trust our senses, but not fully.
You know, another thing I want to bring up is the ball Earth. Okay, if we take the ball Earth model, even if we go to the ball Earth model, it's so perfectly arranged and made together that I highly doubt that it comes from one single guy or a bunch of guys united together like Copernicus and his friends to come up with the globe model. I think it's much more, even if you take the globe, all the knowledge about it and everything, it's much more divine than a bunch of guys with Copernicus putting that up together. Do you agree with that? Or I think there's higher intelligence even for the designing of all that, because look, we're all thinking that we live on the ball and we're monkeys. There's something that they have done. It's so perfectly arranged and everything matches. Like, you take the number of all the numbers that we have, you put them on the globe and it works. You put them on a flat plane, like, you know, it's very hard to. Anyway, I'm not saying that we live on the globe. It's not that. But.
Yeah, Nick, when you were saying that, you know, like, I remember. I think it was the last time we were talking, you said, I mean, the Earth obviously isn't completely flat. Like, you're going to have mountains and all that, you know, from one end to the other. Obviously, Pilote LX there, from his perspective, he's going to be, from that high up, you're going to see it's just straight, you know? How can you deny from that position he's in the sky, seeing, you can literally see a straight line. It's just, no matter what, it's not going to be perfectly flat though either. I mean,
but he wasn't in denial. He was not saying that he lives on a globe. It's not that, but it's just that we were analyzing stuff and we were like, okay, you know, look at it, for sure. Just like the gyroscope inside the plane tells you you're on a plane, and even when you go up, it will always show a flat surface. Like, I don't know. It's just very confusing.
Obviously, you know, perspective, but if it appears to be flat when I look at that. I mean, some people say, "Oh, you could clearly see the curvature," and do you though? I think people are just kind of in denial. It looks like a straight line.
But I think, you know, I think all that pseudoscience or science, whatever you want to call it, I think it comes from even higher. Probably higher intelligence. Santos, what do you think about that? Even if we take any stuff that we know here, the language, the numerology, the everything, come on, I don't know. I think it's. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, look, it's all about the elite and what they have. What they have manufactured as our reality. It's not about we have inherited a true, honest system, and we can trust it. It's not like that. We think it's supposed to be like that. But for instance, 500 years ago, before Copernicus and the Jesuits who created the globe, everyone knew the world was flat. They didn't believe it. They knew it because back then there wasn't so much tampering and there wasn't so much need for there to be a globe for globalism, global governance, global currency, global economy, global religion, which is what the Jesuits have been working towards for about 4,500 years. Okay, 450 years since 1543. That's all they've been doing, creating a world that is on a globe so that they can have their global religion, Catholicism, global economy, which is their central bank system. They own it. Global governments, which will be Rome, DC, and London. And we know that they already have global warming and global this and global that, all sorts of nonsense. The people who did that, what they did was they had to destroy the credibility of all the ancient teachings. All the ancient teachings all taught that we lived on a horizontal plane, okay? And they did not recognize the earth to be a ball. They knew it was round and circular. Yes, it's circular, but not spherical. So if we look at a little coin here, so if that was a table, a round table, you wouldn't say that that was spherical at all. It's flat. It's so when you, no matter where you are, and you're on a flat surface, you will always see that flat surface, if it's bigger than your eye range, as circular. Even if it's a rectangle, the earth could be rectangularly flat, square flat. It doesn't matter. We'll never see it because we're not high enough, and we'll never have the perspective. Our eyes, the range is only about, what, 4,000 or 5,000 miles. And so as we look around on the flat, round earth, everything appears to be round. What they're seeing is rotundity. They're not seeing fall. It's not fall. They will never see any fall because it doesn't fall away. So if you're going to have, say, I'll grab a plate. So if you're see this, that's how the earth is. It's like that. In Revelation chapter 21, it calls the earth a platos, which comes from the Greek verb platus, which means plateau, which means a plate. And that's how the Bible is described. In another scripture, it says the circle of the earth. Never says the sphere of the earth. The Bible never says that because it's not a sphere. And so if you go up in an airplane up this high and you look down here, what you will see from that height is you will see this curvature. You're seeing rotundity. Okay, you're not seeing that curvature. So if you're on the other hand, if you're on a ball and you go up high like that into the atmosphere on a plane, well, as you look in front of you, you should be able to see that fall there. That you'll never see. Never, ever. It's never been witnessed by a human being. So this is how stupid they are. And they'll argue this. Oh, I've been in a plane 45,000 feet high, and I saw the curvature with my own eyes. Well, yeah, you saw that curvature of the plane disk Earth. You didn't see that curvature because when you look out the window of your aeroplane, you can see the horizon at eye level. Doesn't matter how high you go. And you look around, all around 360 degrees, and the horizon does not fall away anywhere. It's right at your eye level.
Yeah, but from that viewpoint, you cannot see the roundity of the Earth, because if not, you would see the edge of that flat Earth. If you would see the roundity, what you see is the flat horizon, because that's as far as you can see, I guess. Then.
Yes.
Right?
They see the flat horizon. It's like if I'm looking here, I see there'll only be a flat horizon, but you'll see the end here is curving back to you, and this curvature here, they think it's falling that way. It's not. It's not falling downwards, it's falling back. So from your perspective, like for instance, if you look down the road, you'll see that the let's do this, shall we? So if you're looking down the road, there's the road there, and you're standing here, you're looking down that road, and so you've got, so let's say there's TV poles here, electrical poles, all right? So they're along the road. And so what's happening is you see all of this goes down, right, as they get further away from you in the distance. Now, this electrical pole here is not shorter than this one. They're the same height, and the road is level, like all railway lines. They're all level because trains can only go on level, right? So, but what you're seeing is, so if you're on a big round Earth, right? Sure, like you said before, you can't see the edge of the Earth. So how is it that you see any kind of rotundity at all? Well, that's how your eyes work. Your eyes are round, and they look around. They don't look a square. So everything, the eyes will always see roundness. You'll never see a portion that sticks out more than your eyes. You know, the reach of your eyes, or your sight's ability, the range. You won't go past that range. It'll always be circular. So when they go up in their aeroplanes, this here is always, the horizon is always at eye level, always. You never have to look down like this. You look out of an aeroplane, and you never have to look down to see the falling away of the Earth way, 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 way over there, anywhere around you. It's always, always around you. So even though the horizon is flat, which it is, what they're seeing, it'll be straight, it'll go straight, 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 and then it'll actually curve like this a little bit, very, very subtly, very subtly. But that's not because the Earth is not flat. That's because your eyes are pulling this back down now, because your range, you're here, and as you look out, your range will come down the horizon to meet you. It's like you won't, if you look down the end of a road, you will never see all the telephone wire poles. You won't see them because they're all condensed and they're all sucked into the vanishing point. But they're there. So they're not seeing fall, what you call fall curvature. They are seeing curvature, circular curvature. You see?
It's interesting, like when you mention all the telephone poles, you look from afar like that. Imagine looking up into the sky, how limited we are from everything that's up there, what we can actually see. You know, because if we were looking that far and we're seeing the road come to a vantage point, looking up at how big the sky is, it just kind of makes sense that we're only limited to a certain sector of that sky. You know, we're not good because we are limited. Like you said, our eyes are limited.
Yes. Yep. So, so eventually they'll work it out. They will have to work it out. They just can't keep repeating like parrots, stupid indoctrinations. The elite families that manufactured the globe, I've got all the names here. These are the people. In the 1500s, you had three guys: Pietro Pomponazzi, Gasparo Contarini, and Francesco Giorgi. They funded Kepler and Copernicus, Jesuits. They also started the Protestant Reformation and the Counter-Reformation. They also were the protectors of Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, who founded the Jesuits 2 years before Copernicus released his, or should I say the Jesuits released their Santa Ball. Yeah. And globalism and everything, and the onslaught of globalism 2 years after. So we've got, 15, 1541, Jesuits founded. 1543, Copernicus and his Santa ball. That's the Santa ball, man. That's about how real the ball Earth is. Anyway, these guys, they also started the Council of Trent. Now, if you know anything about the Council of Trent, guys, in the 1500s, you will know that what the Catholic Church did then was the greatest evil the earth. It was the most evil council in history, man. That's where they started momentum in their global pursuits, and they went to China, Japan, Australia, Americas. Well, the Americas were already 70 years discovered, you know. In what do we got? 1492. The last papal bull was done in 1539, and that papal bull was called Convocation. So in 1539, the third papal bull, Convocation, and two other papal bulls from the 1400s make the three Sestui V bulls of history. So look at what happened. The final bull, papal bull to enslave mankind, was written, called Convocation, in 1539. Then they started the Jesuits, then Copernicus, all within 5 years. So the bull of enslavement, Convocation, the Jesuits of enslavement, and the globe of enslavement, all in 5 years. Now let me just check when the Council of Trent was.
Yeah, so forget about the higher intelligence at work for the globe. It's a bunch of globe darts together that put that up together and decide that it was going to be the reality.
Okay, you want to know the dates for the Council of Trent, guys? Yeah, 1545.
Yeah.
That's it.
1545. So from here, it's a bit like 1913. 1912, the Titanic sank. 1913, the Federal Reserve was implemented. 1914, the First World War. 1917, the Bolshevik communist invasion of the world. 4 major aberrations that destroyed the last century. They deliberately sank the Titanic so that they could get rid of Astor and the other rich guys that were opposing the Federal Reserve. 1913, Federal Reserve. 1914, World War. 1915, other disasters. I think the Balfour Agreement, they destroyed Turkey, the Middle East. Then they went for Russia, destroyed Russia. This was all done by the Vatican and Wall Street, okay, and the Zionists. Now, this is a similar period in history, guys. Take note. I'll go through these details again so we don't forget them. And then I'll mention to you, show you all the names that were involved in the Santa Ball. So you've got 1539, guys, Convocation, the final Sestui V trust. Sestui V. Sestui V. It is you that is living. The trusts, the papal bull trusts, that was it. Then the Jesuits, 2 years later. Then Copernicus, 2 years later. Then the Council of Trent, 2 years later. You see it, how all these things happen? So these guys, Pietro Pomponazzi, Gasparo Contarini, who was a cardinal in Milan, Francesco Giorgi, they all protected Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, Copernicus, and Kepler. Try and keep these details in your mind, guys, because this is the ammunition you need to prove and show that this is a conspiracy, not the other way around. Then in the 1600s, so we've done the 1500s. Then in the 1600s, we have two more guys. We have Paolo Sarpi and Fulgencio Micancio. And they were Servite monks. And they funded, they were Jesuits, they funded Galileo, okay, with his Humpty Dumpty globe. Then in the 1700s, we have another couple of Jesuits, Abbot Antonio Conti and Juan Maria Ortiz. They funded Newton and the gravity. So Galileo was the globe, Newton was gravity, the gravity globe, and Copernicus and Kepler, 100 years prior, started the fiction off in all of this time. And they started the religion of materialism or utilitarianism, and they were the enemies of Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, who was the true discoverer of calculus, not Newton. And Newton and the Jesuits were, you remember the fire of London and everything, and then Newton comes out with gravity after the fire of London of 1666. And that was when they went full speed ahead with the globe because they had gravity now. They destroyed Leibniz's career. He was a true scientist preaching flat earth. And then they introduced subtly and slowly their one world globalism concept through the globe, their false idol.
What about the
drink?
Yeah,
Keep talking, I'll just grab a drink.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do have a question. After hearing all of that about our history, are they currently doing something at the moment? Because it feels like there's a bit of manipulation happening and a lot of confusion happening. Are they creating, or is there something else being created to design a new concept and structure? Is anyone else seeing that or feeling that?
The humanity, you mean, or?
Yeah, that just confuse us, enslave us. You know, it just feels like a lot of what has been happening is very trickster-like, you know, it's mind over matter, so we're just going to trick people.
Well, like I've even, like even seeing, you guys ever watch Alex Jones's video, or even like Joe Rogan, like the Joe Rogan podcast? And he had Alex Jones on there, and basically Alex Jones thought that it was what the elite are. It's like an infiltration of this interdimensional kind of stuff. You know, it's like I don't think we'll ever really know what's happening, you know, because it's like when you hear that, it's like crazy. But what if, you know, we're conditioned to think if it was something like that, that's absolutely out of your mind. But like, that's the whole thing about it, because maybe it's really crazier than we could ever imagine how they do what they do, or whoever they are, really, you know.
Yeah, but what they do is something we do to us also. We do that to ourselves by not waking up. It's a choice that I took to wake up. Nobody came to knock at my door, say, Yannick, you want to wake up? There's something great out there. So it's a choice to wake up. Yeah. So to say that they control us and that they have you know, power over us and stuff, it's just because we let go of the power. We let them have power. Because look, the moment that you start thinking for yourself, what happened, you end up on YouTube and you start the Tru-Mon show. So so they don't have power that much over us. It's up to us to regain the power together. But most of us are sleeping, living dead, zombified. So this is what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting out of that zombified state slowly, but we need a certain number of people. Man is an island. I can yap here, make a million videos on YouTube. If nobody gets on board, what's the point?
It seems like there's a lot of self-reflection. You know, you hear those that are like, oh, it's the me generation, just me, all about me. When really that means it's the age of, you know,
that's it. But we do that to ourselves.
It means reflecting on yourself and waking up in your own
self-discovery.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they make it seem like it's like a narcissistic generation now, and everybody's obsessed with themselves. Yeah, maybe a bit, but I think it's more a self-reflecting thing happening more so than ever.
More understanding who we are as a species and what the go is. Like, you know, we want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
I missed that question there, Melissa. Can you repeat it?
Oh, it was just talking about how, you know, you discussing about what's happened in history and how there's been certain events that have created this, you know, concept and these storylines and ideas. I feel like there's a new one being put into place right now. And, you know, I guess the question to you was, do you see this? Do you feel this? Do you have an idea what could be happening? Yeah, just a discussion on that.
Age of Aquarius thing, something like that.
Yeah.
The knowledge that's being poured on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the elite are definitely trying to set up a new order. They've always had orders. They've always had their, you know, their special institutions in place to, you know, route man's, you know, progress and monitor it and check it and control it. So they are trying to establish another economical system, another governance system, another way of controlling all commercial transactions. They will keep doing that for sure, but things have changed. You know, we have the internet now. We can see what they're doing. They've been exposed at a quicker rate than ever before. It's more transparent. Things, the way things have set up now, the transparency is just impossible for, you know, evil ones to continue with their mechanisms of enslavement. But like you said, Yannick, we are the ones who basically just lie down and let these ones control us. We should be mastering now the techniques of ignoring these creeps, and we should be creating our own reality and just truly getting on with our lives and just ignoring their systems of control. It's easy to do. It's very easy. For one, you have the right, you have rights, and they can't take that away from you. So if you establish your rights, every transaction that you do with policemen and all of these goons that work for the you know, the demonic slave system, just don't contract and just retain your silence. Just ask the question, do I have the right to remain silent? They will have to say yes, and you will have to just take that option and never answer a question after that. And the next thing that should come out of your mouth is, I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. There's a guy on YouTube who does that. It's called, he just calls his video channel, I think, I don't answer questions. And he shows how you get, you know, you go through toll stops, how you go through, you know, police check stops, and they just can't touch you because they cannot join their operation to a living being. They must create joinder to the copyright person that they own, which is your full name, what they call the full name. You should never give people your full name. For a start, you don't give anyone your name. You tell them your name. You do not give it. So when a policeman asks you to give
Give me your name.
Yeah, you give him nothing. You say, I will tell you my name. And all you have to tell, all you're required to tell by legally and lawfully, all you are required to tell them is your name. And in my case, that's Santo. It's not Bonacci because that's not a given name. I have one given name, and that is Santo. So you can give that as your given name. They will always ask you, is that your first name or your second name? Never own a first or a second name. Never. You have a Christian given name. You don't have a first name and you don't have a second name. That's for dogs. That's under their Justinian law code. That's for the dogs, okay? So when they say, what's your second name? Well, if you do have a middle name, and I wouldn't call it a middle name, I would just call it my other given name, my other Christian given name. So if you're dealing Christian names and given names, they can't own that because they don't own that. I own Santo, that's my given name. I don't own Bonacci because that is a surety name. Surname, surety name. So if you're stupid enough to say Santo Bonacci, well, then you're in contract. immediately, and you can't ignore them now because they've got you engaged. And now you won't be able, you're in a contract and you have to get yourself out of that now. They'll probably take you to a judge and then you'll have to start the process again. Okay, so, okay, if you want to comply and be a peaceful inhabitant, so you're not combative or a hostile, which is how they'll treat you, you give them the name, Bruce, Tom, and you are now fulfilling the law because that is the name that you were given, and it's also the name that's on the birth certificate which you own, and they can't take that. So it's all about knowing how to deal with these goons. You know, they if they try to force you to use their copyright name, well, that's intimidation and that's coercion and that's force, and they can get into trouble. They can go to jail for that because they are not entitled to use the name, and neither are you. It's Crown copyright. And so you have to be careful when you're using someone else's property. So, you know, you might want to ask if you know, you might say, is it lawful for me to speak about someone that I don't recognize? I don't recognize that person. I'm Santo. I don't recognize Santo Bonacci. I don't recognize it. You don't have to recognize it. They can't force you to recognize it. If you don't recognize it, it means there's no recognition and they can't join you to it. So you can ask the question, is it lawful for me to use a name that I haven't copyrighted? That's not my property. Okay? So there's many ways of getting around that and ignoring them.
Yeah, because that's another way we give them power. You know, we give them power so much. We give them our name. We sign our nature away on every document. You know, it's crazy that we're not conscious. We're so unconscious of our actions until we wake up and start realizing what's our everyday life is all about. We're very unconscious, and that's very, yeah. Anyway. I think it's deep unconsciousness or normal unconsciousness. I might be in the normal unconsciousness, me. I'm waking up, I'm awakening, but I'm still, I still have lots of stuff to. It's a long journey, and it's life. It's a long journey.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight.
Doesn't happen overnight, and but the good thing is we are awakening now. Santos, I want to talk to you about something else, about the Bible. And that's someone also that posts a question in the chat about the Bible. There's a lot of truth in the Bible, if you want to say. They're hidden truth. Not really hidden. It's coded. It's in plain sight, whatever you want to say it. But what's your take on all the religious book and the truth that's in there? And why do they put it in there when they could hide it? You know, that was the question in the chat.
Yeah, okay. So the Bible, Quran, Srimad Bhagavatam, all of these books are full of transcendental truth. They don't have any mundane historical fact in them, although they use mundane historical facts in its process of teaching. Okay, so for instance, in the Bible it talks about Persia, Babylon, Greece, and Rome, and these are factual empires that have occurred in the period of history. Well, how does this happen then? So people, point to that and claim evidence of historicity, whereas that's not how it works. All the books, all the sacred books, they've been around, they're timeless. They weren't written 1,000 years, 2,000, 3,000 years ago at all. They were redacted back then. Schools actually that were protecting those ancient timeless documents. Some are in Egypt, some in India, some in Greece, some in Rome. The schools that had the protection of those sacred documents. Well, when empire comes, so when Rome comes, they grab the Gospels, redact them to the Roman time period, and now it looks like everything in the Bible is happened around about that time. Well, no, that's just Rome's version of the Bible. The Bible has much, much greater antiquity. In fact, no one really knows who wrote the Bible. They say Moses, but Moses is Hermes. Hermes is Well, it's a bit like the Greeks, Homer, Hermes. No one knew who these guys were because they weren't guys. They were whoever grabbed the stylus and the inkhorn and the pen and wrote inspirational documents. That was Hermes, that was Moses. So it was like Pharaoh. There's not one Pharaoh. Pharaoh means every king of Egypt has that title. Herod, it's the same thing. So we're not looking. Moses is more of a title than a name. It's the title of Mercury, Buddha, Thoth, Hermes, the first of the planets, and the one who is close to the sun, and the one who is basically communicating what the sun wants to communicate to us. Okay, so all of those books, even though they've been redacted, butchered, and they've been changed somewhat, they all still contain the ancient secret truths, and they are anagogic, esoteric, occult, transcendent. There's nothing in there that is literal. Even some of the churchgoers will tell you, oh, the book of Revelation is symbolical. Well, they got it right. It is. It's symbols. And so the Bible is using symbols everywhere. But even when it appears to be using history, like Caesar Augustus sent out a decree that all the world should be registered, and the censorship of Caesar Augustus, which occurred when Jesus was born. Hence, he went from Nazareth, where he comes from, and his mother Mary and Joseph took him to Bethlehem before he was born, and he was born in Bethlehem. That was supposedly, they went there to register themselves because Caesar Augustus started one of the first census registrations in the history of the Roman Empire. Well, this is very clever. This is very clever. You get these clever churchgoers, who will say, oh, well, you see, there it is there. There's Caesar Augustus and Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Yes, that's clever redacting. It's not fact, and it's not even truth, because the Egyptians did this 2,000 years ago, only they called Jesus Horus, and Satan they called Set. And then the Persians did it with Mithras and Mazda and Ahura Mazda. And the Chinese have got their, and the American Indians have got Viracocha, Quetzalcoatl, and all of their sun gods. And so, in India it's Krishna and Vivasvan, or Surya, the sun god. It's all the same stuff. And so those gospels, no one knows who wrote them, and they weren't written in this temporal age, not at all. They have always been there. They've always been guarded and protected. They are timeless. They are like the manuals that come in your car, in your glove box, in your compartment box there. You pull out when your car, needs maintenance, you go to the manual. That's exactly what these books are like. The creator, here we go. Let's have a look at who the creator is, shall we?
Because there's the books that we have, but there's also hidden books inside the Vatican library that we don't have access to. So what is all this too? That's a good question. What is in there? What is in the Vatican? What do they hide?
Probably so many different
What
books,
do they hide in those books that they don't put in the Bible? Like, it's very intriguing for me. There's like miles long of highs of book. What is in there?
Yeah. You'd love to know, wouldn't you?
Oh man, I would love to go in there.
All I want to do is see Porphyry's books on astrology. Porphyry was the greatest Neoplatonist, lived in the 3rd century, and his teacher was Plotinus, but Plotinus was not an astrologer, so he was not a syncretist. The syncretists of that age were Porphyry and Iamblichus, and Iamblichus, we do have his... I do have his great work on the Chaldean mysteries. There it is, Iamblichus on the mysteries. Now, Can you see that? Iamblichus, okay?
Yeah.
Iamblichus. This is the guy that Julian the Apostate, the greatest emperor of Rome in 360, he said that Iamblichus was the greatest of all the minds of men, greater than Plato, greater than Pythagoras. So here we have the nephew of Constantine the Great, 60 years after that blasphemous corporate Church of St. Peter was founded. And here we have his nephew who brought Rome back to the ancient solar Gnostic religion and saved Rome from the stupidity of corporate Christianity. But then, of course, Justinian turns up 100 years later, and Theodosius, and basically they burned the libraries in Alexandria. They shut down the Neoplatonic schools in Greece, in Alexandria, in Egypt, and in Rome. Justinian shut down all the academies of Neoplatonism in the year 329. 529. Okay? So they burned all of Porphyry's astrological books. We still have Porphyry's house system in astrology down to this day. We still respect Porphyry's whatever he knew. But he had, I think, 20 volumes of astrology, the most complete and comprehensive astrological treatise in the history of man, and they were burned. He also wrote about vegetarianism. He was a vegetarian. Of course, all the Neoplatonists were. And they were all teaching this stuff. Porphyry would have been teaching astrology the way I do, on the ecliptic, on the sine wave. And that's why all his books were burned. Porphyry, the Great, my favorite of all.
I had a quick question. When you mention all the people teaching this stuff, they're all vegetarian now. Why vegetarian and not vegan? I mean, if you think, because I just think if you're a vegetarian, you could still drink milk, but like, what about ingesting stuff that's still not good for you in the sense of like how it's made? You know, like why vegetarianism? Why not vegan when that's seen as the most purest form of eating, I guess you could say.
Well, like, I think in my opinion, I use those two interchangeably. Vegetarian just is the separation mark between the two worlds. Okay, veganism is superior to vegetarianism because it does not allow for any animal to suffer. But then again, you know, the ancient cultures, they all had their own cow, their own lamb, chickens. They loved their animals. They did not eat their animals. They were vegetarian, but they used the animals for meat, like it says in the Bible, not to eat, but for meat. In that you can use,
like still make milk and
their
like
feathers, you can use their wool, you can use their milk to make cheese. There's nothing wrong with cheese. You know, there's if it's untraumatized cows and it's organic, you don't have to go that one step further to be a vegan. I am.
Right.
I don't have any of that stuff, but you don't have to, as long as you're not killing sentient beings.
Okay, but there's still harm and suffering associated with the production of milk and cheese. I mean, they're taking the baby calf away from them. There's lots of suffering. The cows are raised into a it's not even human to think like. It's the transport. Like, there's a lots of harm. Maybe back then when you were raising your animals on the farm and, you know, not abusing them in an industrial way. Yeah, for sure. Cheese and stuff, people must have been using that milk. Like, I guess it's just, but now it's just we have lost our way in the industrialization a lot. And I think it's just out of control now.
Yep, it's true. Definitely, more than 3 or 4 animals of your own is, and if they're not happy, that is, you know, mass production. And animals are not for that purpose. They're not our slave. They are our helpers, and we should be treating them more kind than the work that we get out of them. So we should be investing in the animals. We should never, ever deprive an animal of its needs, and never cause it to work more than it can, and never be ever cruel to any animal, ever, not even an ant, you know, to step on it just because you can. This is bad karma, and eventually that will come back.
You know, we have disease because we badly feed our bodies and stuff, and we become at dis-ease. Imagine what they feed the animals. Don't you think they feed them constantly GMO stuff and stuff for them to develop
They do.
all kinds of sickness?
Yeah,
Sometimes
without a doubt.
you know, they have abscess, they have stuff inside, they have all kinds of disease, and you eat that stuff like
Well,
it's crazy.
You drink the milk and imagine what they put the cows through, and even they say even some of the blood is just left in the milk and they pasteurize it, you know, like,
because to me it's way past veganism and vegan and vegetarian and all those words you can label it. It's like it's crazy what's going on. It's a satanic thing, a satanic ritual that we're performing for them. So it's to wake up and see that it's more past. It's your, first of all, veganism, vegetarian, call it whatever you want. You're not even made to eat meat, so you shouldn't even think about it. When you have a piece of meat raw in your plate, you're not tempted to eat it. I don't want to eat meat raw. I have to cook it, spice it, put sauce on it, and this is where we, I think, anyway, me, it's clear to me that I'm not going back in that madness of eating flesh, dead flesh and dead animals.
Yeah.
Fuck that. No way. No way.
I stopped eating meat 2 months ago with my girlfriend, but like I'm still finding myself trying to do what I can. I mean, I'm not a vegan per se, but like thinking of even before I buy milk or something, but what do those cows go through? Like, I think about stuff like that just because, like, I'm trying to really better what I put in my body. So now I mean, I love cheese, though. That's the one thing. So it's like I'm trying to see what I could, because I cut meat out, but now I'm like, all right, so what was put into
It's a slow transition.
This, you know? Yeah.
It's a slow transition. And, you know, just on this topic, the animals will come back and hurt the people. And they are doing that. You've got, you know, dogs that are attacking people. And I strongly believe and know that this is the karma. We've been doing this for such a long time that they're now growing in consciousness in their animal species, and they're coming back. And they're going to keep coming back until we are awakening and awaken in that concept.
Yeah, there you go, Melissa. This is a picture from Bhagavad Gita. Look at this.
Yeah.
You see what it says there? See how the animal is being murdered because of gluttony. It's very, very gluttonous to eat flesh of dead sentient beings, and then to just lick your lips and lick your fingers like it's gluttony. It's all here. It says
the flavors of it too.
Yeah, look, it's just disgusting. You see people in their feasts and they're licking their fingers and all this stuff.
I know, the licking of the fingers, right?
And it's all for protein and health. And I just sit there and go, what? No.
No.
Yeah.
It's for derangement and bad health. That's why they're all dying of cancer. And the doctors are busy and medicating them. And they have got all diseases. They've got arthritis. They've got piles hanging out of their backside. They've got freaking wrinkles all over. They look like prunes, man. I mean, I'll be 54 next month, and I've never seen a wrinkle on my face, and I probably will not welcome one because I eat the juicy food. The juicier the food you eat, and the more raw you eat, the juicier your body will be. Okay, so you see these people, they're heavily, heavily wrinkled, and you look at what they eat. McDonald's, fried chicken.
What about their ankles, Santos? Their ankles are swelling and, wow, it's all over their body.
Water retention and all that stuff.
Everything.
It's shocking. Our bodies should be trim as like when we were teenagers. It should be the same trimness. I've never ever had excessive weight. I've never been more than, say, 67 kilos. That's very light.
Yep. Okay? I've been the same size since I was a teenager. So, I know
it's not my case. I reached 300 pounds, but I lost 100 pounds by stopping eating meat and drinking milk.
There you go.
That's very important that people know that. I lost 100 and something pounds just by cutting that scrap and eating more greens.
That's good.
I didn't move enormously. I do a little bit of bike, yoga here and there. I have a genou en compote. I can do really much with my legs, so I do what I can, but I lost the weight because I stopped eating the scrap, the acid stuff. Sometimes we think we're fat. We're not fat. We're turning acid like a battery. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Pure madness. Pure madness, if you ask me. It's crazy. Now, there's another thing, Santos, I want to bring on before, in the last half hour and so, the pyramids. The pyramids. I want to talk about the pyramids. I think these are subjects that go a bit on the sides with the flat earth stuff on YouTube and that. We don't talk so much about the pyramids and where it come from and the use of it. And, you know, I have never heard you so much talk about the pyramids also. So it's a good night to talk about the pyramids, I think.
Yeah, for sure, brother. Just before that, I'll just read this out of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so this is the Bible of the East. And that picture, that scary picture, I would like any people who are still eating, you know, fish or whatever, any kind of animal, just remember this picture. Remember it very, very clearly, because all animals have to see the axe come down over their head. And all cows have to see their calves being stolen from them to be sold on the market as veal, you know, veal and pork and venison and all of these lovely names for cuisine. It's not pork, it's pig's bum. It's not you know, venison. It's murder. You know, don't call it pork. It just doesn't work. It is pure murder. It's filth. It's derangement. It's demonic. And this is the consequences. It says, animal killers do not know that in the future the animal will have a body suitable to kill them. That is the law of nature. So that was very important. I thought I had to mention that before we move on to the pyramids. Pyramids are the only shape known to man that can actually change the shape of the torus field. You can get a square magnet, a ring magnet. You can get any shaped magnet and put it under, like, the ferrocell. A ferrocell is, or a magnetic viewing film. Ferrocell is very much like a supercharged magnetic viewing film, but you'll still see the magnetic lines, you know, and you'll see every magnet, it's all like this. Not perfect. It's always to a ratio of 5:1. So every magnet is really, the top part, let's say, is phi, and the bottom part will be 1. Okay? Phi is 1.618, the golden section. Okay, so basically they're like this. They're like eggs. Fat at the bottom, or like a pine cone. So this shape, so if that's 1, this is phi over here. So phi here, the phi ratio. So this is 1.618 times bigger than the top half. Okay, so there's more bulk, more magnitude there at that ratio. And that's what's going on. All torus fields are like that. Okay, the fat part is where blue shift happens, and the red part is where red shift happens. Okay, and so blue is here and red is here at the bottom. If we're going to consider this to be our universe, and so you've got the Earth's plane here inside of the torus field, and here will be the North Pole here, magnetic mountain here, and this will be the South Pole, Antarctica, out here. And so we're all living here on the flat horizontal Earth. Above us there are 7 planets. Below us there are 7 planets. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, 15 planets in all. And the pyramid is the only one that can distort this shape. It's the only one that can significantly changed the shape of the way the Taurus energy extrapolates itself out from the 0 point of transcendence. So the pyramids are very, very special. What they can do is create more redshift and blue shift than any other shape. Okay, so that's essentially what the pyramids are there for. They are a shape which manipulates the Taurus field like no other, and hence you can do more with it, you see. So with the Great Pyramid, so they had in the Great Pyramid, which has no top, they had like the main gallery going up to the King's Chamber, and then another one passage going to the Queen's Chamber, and then you have subterranean stuff going down here, and then this is the big gallery here, and you climb up, and you've got 4 shafts, and those 4 shafts, they all point to stars. This one points to Orion. This one points to Orion. This one points to Sirius, and this points to Thuban. And I think even perhaps Polaris, I'm not sure, but it's one of the 7 stars of the northern what they call that area. Anyway, it's in the Arctic northern regions.
We're gonna avoid saying hemisphere.
Yes, inner circle. And so what these chambers are doing here is they are drawing, you see, it's all about light and magnetism, okay? So not only is this shape distorting the Taurus field for their purposes, but they're also harvesting the energy here in the pyramid, and then directing it to the people like a Tesla free energy device. And so this was producing energy that everybody could use. Okay, no wires, direct energy. Okay, so that's what pyramids are for. Pyramids are actually built on lays, or what we call ley lines. Better to call them lays. And the Earth has all of its arterials and lays all planned out. And so when you build something like this, which actually harvests and creates its Taurus energy, but in its own peculiar shape, then you have more power to redirect that energy and channel it for the benefit of people. And in those times, 60,000 years ago, when this was built, wasn't 5,000 years ago like they tell us.
What did you say there? 60,000 years ago?
60,000 plus. 100,000 years ago. 60 to 100,000 years ago was built. Yeah. And you have to listen to true scientists to tell you that, like Abdel Hakim Awiyan from the Kemet Mystery School in Egypt, who is an ancient indigenous wisdom keeper of Egypt. And he tells us that, you know, you don't want to be listening to the Jesuit buffoons like Zahi Hawass and all the idiots, Graham Hancock, and all these morons who will say, you know, that this is 5,000 to 12,000 years. No. Abdel Hakim Awiyan, the Kemet Mystery School, they are the indigenous wisdom keepers. They know, and they know that this is at least 60,000 years old.
Oh, that's huge. I never heard that number before. It's huge. I see. It was a good thing that I get you to talk about the pyramid.
Brother, this Earth plane has hosted many, countless civilizations in the past and in the future. It has been the host of many cycles of necessity. Many souls have been drawn to this point here in the Garden of Eden, and then they've dispersed to create civilizations on this plane, which is the plane of Bumandula, Jambudweep. And so here, this Midgard, the middle garden, this is like the heart. Earth and heart are the same word, really, and that's it here. And so that's the green earth, the green chakra in the middle of your torso. That's the blue throat chakra. That's the red bottom chakra. And this is your torso. So, Taurus. Torso, Taurus. Everything is about Tor. Okay, who is Tor? Well, that's the Tauri, the Yggdrasil Tauri of the Taurus in the middle of the earth. And so, Tor, or Thor, he is the author of our creation. And together with Rhea, they are the creator. Tor, the actor. The author.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
No, I just read your word, creator.
Yes. This is the one who tells of the... This is how you tell your story. This is a storehouse. Taurus, storehouse of creation. Okay, so you are the orator. Orator. This is the orator's field because it's orating.
Yeah.
Okay, it is speaking. It is the tutor, the teacher. Tor. All right, it is the motor. Tor, you see, and Tor backwards is wrote. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Wrote, rotor, motor, torso, Taurus, orator, creator, story, store, tutor, author, the author of your own creation. It's all in the Taurus field. So what you've got is
That's why they
creation is happening.
That's why they put the goods in the store.
That's right. And so you've got words like agitator, rotator. How about this one? Astor. Yeah, because this is how stars work. This is the astrology teacher, the Taurus, the Astorus.
Yeah, there was a guy named Astor, a dancer or singer, no, something like that.
Yeah, that's the guy they killed on the Titanic so that they could get their Federal Reserve in 1913.
Yeah.
They had to sink this guy in the Titanic and two other guys. I forget their names right now. Because I've read all that history of the Jesuits and all of their wicked deeds and how they've controlled the whole psyop of our modern day word. Just keep talking for a bit, man. Just grab another drink.
Yeah, what's interesting too, it's the construction of the pyramid that I would like to extend on. You know, there's a lot of, to lift those big blocks like that, like I've never seen them. I've never been there. I've never seen the pyramid. I assume that they exist, okay, because I've never seen them.
Well, yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people talking and pictures. I assume they're there. We cannot also, you know, like say, because I didn't experience it, like we have to trust a bit other people like us at one point. You know what I mean? I haven't experienced it, but I think I can talk about it without having experiencing it.
The question is, how did they make it? How did they use their strength to get it like that? That structure.
Just to lift one block, you have no crane today capable of lifting that kind of block. So what kind of crane they had? Were they levitating the blocks with stuff? Were they
it was also created in a way to where if there's an earthquake, it doesn't even matter. It's able to withhold itself and it doesn't move at all.
It's still there after thousands and thousands of years. It hasn't moved. There's been earthquake. There's been, the terrain has moved. Obviously, the earth is alive. It's moving.
Everything.
You know?
And no builder in modern day society can figure it out. And I just think, well, they were full of brains way back then. So how
Yeah.
did they do that? It's amazing.
How did they do it? Maybe Santos has a theory on that.
Yeah, it's easy. You don't need a theory. We know how they did it. Sonoluminescence with sound. In the Bible,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Bible, they talk about Joshua destroying the walls of Jericho just with the sound of his horns, circling the city once for 7 days, and on the 7th day, they did it 7 times. They blew their horns, and with the sound of those trumpets, right? Even though this is not literal history, there's nothing literal in it at all. It's teaching you about sound. It's teaching you that God created everything with sound. Genesis 1:1. Bereshit bara Elohim. Bareshit. Bare is bra. Abra. So all of this bra words, ra is already there. See, the creator, the creator, that's Rhea. Make no mistake about it. Rhea and Thor. Thor is Jupiter. Rhea and Thor. That's really Jupiter's mother.
Creator. Yeah, I never seen it.
I don't know. I just
Yeah.
So Rhea, Rhea is the consort of Saturn.
Wow.
Okay, and Saturn is time. So let's work out who Rhea is, because Rhea always turns up in. She's the mother of cereals. Okay, cereals. Rhea, bread.
Oh, wow.
Learn something every day.
Rhea.
Yeah.
It's spelt like this. It's actually spelt with a H. Okay, that's Rhea, the wife of Saturn, Satan, the ruler of time. Time is atum. All is atum. Remember, all is atum, like this, or all is atur. Arthur, Thor, Tor, the Taurus field, the bull and the Tor, the creator of our reality. But when you come back to this, you'll find out who this is. Joseph and Mary, and their child is Thor, Jesus. So how do you work that out? Well, let's have a look at the Greek. Let's have a look at the Greek Saturn, Rhea, and Zeus, and see if we can't compare it with the Hebrew Joseph, Mary, and Jesus, because it's all one thing. So they have to be syncretized. They have to be. There's no choice. People will say, "Oh, but that's Greek. That's Saturn is it's evil. It's a planet." Joseph was Joseph, and he was a real man. Yeah, like Santa Claus. Okay, so let's see how we work it out, and then we'll work out how it is that sonoluminescence created everything. Well, you've got Saturn. Saturn is Set. Set becomes Seth. And Joe, the father, Jehovah, the father, Seth, is none other than Saturn. Rhea becomes Mother Rhea, Maria. Joseph and Mary have a son called Jesus. Joseph and Mary, they have a son called Jesus. Saturn and Rhea have a son called, well, Thor. We said that before. Sorry, Thor, Jupiter in Roman. That's Scandinavian, German, Thursday, Thor's Day. Jupiter, Latin, Zeus. No, I don't like that. I'll make that better. So Saturn and Rhea have Zeus, or Jupiter Zeus. Jupiter Zeus becomes Zeus, Jesus. So Joseph, Sat. Joseph and Mary and Jesus are nothing other than Saturn and Rhea, old man time, who have their first child, their only begotten, Jupiter, because he was the only one. Jupiter was the only one who was saved. As Kronos was eating all his children, Rhea was afraid that Saturn would eat her new boy, so she flew him over to Crete, so he would grow up. Thor would grow up there. So he was their only begotten son, just like Joseph and Mary. You can't, well, not only begotten. He apparently in the Gospels, Mary had other children, but it was the only one that was special because it was God's son. It was unique. It was a virgin birth, etc. So this Thor, the reason why Thor gets to be the ruler of the god of gods, Jupiter, Zeus, Zeus is the god of gods, is because he was the one, this principle of Jupiter, the principle of Jupiter in the universe is the only principle in existence that can defeat the principle of Saturn, which is all that is born in time shall die in time. Only the principle of Jupiter can cancel the principle of Saturn. That's why Jupiter castrated his father, Saturn. So Zeus castrated Kronos, his father. Okay, in the Greek it's Kronos. In Latin it's Saturn. Okay, Latin, Saturn, Satan. They're all the same words. All is atum. It's all atom. Yeah? Even Santos is the same word as Saturn, because everything comes from here, but everything is able to be manifest through this principle of Thor, the Thorus field. Only the Thorus fields are able to escape the kingdom, eternal kingdom of Saturn, which is timeless, and to produce manifestations of phenomena temporally on this earth plane. It all comes from Thor, the Thorus tree. And so that's why Jupiter's always got his bulls. That's how he got to rape Europa, because he was traveling on the back of a bull, yeah? And that's why Krishna's always got his bulls. Krishna is the good cowherd. Christ is the good shepherd. Okay, well, that's Aries and Taurus, the two top signs in the head. Aries, the ram, the cerebrum. Taurus, the bull, the cerebellum. And so Aries, the ram, Taurus, the bull, those are the two signs. So everywhere in the universe you will see words that have Ra, El, the ram and the bull, or
what about
Tor, bull, or bull, Tor. So you'll find Tor, bull words, or bull Tor words, or Ra, El words, which are really the ram and the bull.
That's why they have the Red Bull.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what it is. It is. Absolutely, because Aries has to do with the color red. So if you've got an Aries ascendant, you probably got red hair. If you've got Mars rising in your first sign, and you've probably got red hair. If you're Arian or Scorpio, you've probably got red hair, because that's all iron, Mars, Scorpio, Aries, Mars, it's all iron, and it's all red, because Mars in Hebrew is Ma'adim, which is Mars Adam, because Adam is also red, the red-blooded man. And Mars, when you look up in the sky, you can see clearly that he's only one of 5 objects in the sky that are red. All the other stars are white, blue, green, yellow, whatever, and there's only 5 red. Mars is red. Adam is red. Ma'adim in Hebrew means Mars, which is Mars Adam. And so you've got red and blue. That's all it is. This is red, and the same word is rot. Rot is red in German. Okay, so however you look at the word Taurus, it's all red. So if I do the word Taurus here, All right. That becomes rot, which is red. And in English, we just say red, because T and D are interchangeable. So that means red. Taurus, so you've got Tor means red, but then the second part of the word, Rus, well, that's Russia. Russia means red. Italian red is rosso. A rose is red. Roses are red.
Roux en français.
Yeah. Rust is red. What's the color of rust? Well, it's red. So no matter how you look at it, Taurus is all red. And blue, and bull is all blue. Bull.
Yeah.
Do that again. Blue in Italian. Blue in English. French is B-L-A-U.
Yeah, B-L-E-U.
EU. Bleu.
Yeah.
Okay, so where you see the bull, you see everywhere that the Taurus bull, and the words that come from this are turbulence, trouble, terrible. Terror is just another way of saying
terrible.
Torah.
Terrible. Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah. These words, bull, bull Tauruses. Well, buttress. Let me just grab a few others.
In regards to this, like, red ship, blue ship, there's discussion on, like, the purple, so the indigo. Is that something you know much about, Santos? So there's like this red side, blue side. What's this purple side? Because I know red and blue make purple. So
yes, well, if you look closely, you can see how blue blends into red and how they both blend into magenta or violet or indigo. You can see how they all are just brothers and sisters of each other, okay? You can see it clearly. So red shift and blue shift, it's just about different capacitance light. See, blue light has a much quicker frequency than red light. Red light's like this, long wave, okay? So blue, that is higher capacitance than that, believe it or not. You know, like a suitcase, a big suitcase has higher capacitance than a small suitcase, right? So it's the other way around. But with light, this has more capacitance, more energy, more information here than here. Red light is low capacitance light. And so this refracts a lot quicker. When you see the prism, like that, you see, say, red light going through like that, and the rainbow color, and blue's here, you'll see blue refracts at the other end a lot sharper than red. Red pretty much goes straight. But the angle of refraction here in blue, and violet's here, violet is much sharper again. So violet is the highest capacitance light that we know of, violet, ultraviolet, and violet is the last color that we see before it just goes to white, incoherent light. So we've got violet is actually the highest capacitance light. Then we have indigo here, we have blue here, we have green here, then yellow, then orange, then red. So we've gone from low capacitance. Red has 4 petals. The bottom chakra has 4 petals. So there's red has the power of 4 and blood, okay, and death. Orange is 6. Orange is about 6 and sex. That's the sexual chakra. The solar plexus is 10. It connects with the 10 fingers of your hand and the Kabbalistic tree of life. Here is Kether, here is Earth, Malkuth. From ether to earther. And then you go up the elements, you've got earth, earth, water, air, fire, ether. So that's why you do all your mudras, okay? You're connecting here, you're connecting air, mind. You're making your mind strong. Here you are creating strong emotions. Here, energy and intelligence. Here you are earthing. When you do this, you are earthing. So that 10, the 10 fingers of man is the hand, by the way, mano, manipulate, manage, maneuver, manufacture, manacles, etc. So that is the number of man and power. Power, sex, survival. Okay? Then you get up to the green chakra, that's 12. Well, that's why Jesus is always pointing to his heart, because that's Jesus. The color green is the pacifying neutral color, which oxygenates the body with chlorophyll, photosynthesis. It feeds the body. It's the true vegetational color. Okay, blue has 16 chakras, 16 petals. So you see, that's why 4 times 4 is more powerful than redshift, which has only got the power of 4. So we're actually making a universe with these torus fields. The creator, the author of our story, is happening only through Taurus bulls. Okay, it's the only way things get done.
You know, and that's weird because they sell the beer in 6 packs and they sell the beer in case of 24. You know, it's 6 times 4.
Sorry, phone died.
That I just thought about that. I'm like, hey, everything in our reality is shaped to manipulate us. So, you know, and they know things for sure. So,
well, see, these numbers are already in nature. All they're doing is they're catapulting their evil mechanisms through this. Okay, there's many reasons why. Because, well, first of all, they will be blessed with this energy. And that's why the elite, they're always using the symbols of nature. And the other reason is to cause unsuspecting ignoramus people to think that because they are evil and they use this beautiful wisdom of nature, then this also must be evil. So astrology is evil. All of these symbols are evil. The Taurus is evil. The chakras are evil. It's all evil because the elite know about it. Well, that's freaking logical, isn't it? It's like saying, I'm not going to butter my bread with a knife anymore because I heard in the newspaper yesterday that a very bad man in the neighborhood stabbed his wife to death with the buttering knife. Oh, that's disgusting. Knives should be banned forever.
Yeah.
You just can't win. Unintelligence is unintelligence, and there's no cure for stupidity. But see, this is the true science. Yes, the elite are using this, like a bad man kills his wife with his buttering knife instead of, you know, making sandwiches for his children. So, but it doesn't make, you know, this is still pure. All these numbers are good. 4's good. I love 4. Mwah. 6 is sexy. Mwah. 10 is cute. Yeah. So
I think we get lost a bit sometime in demonizing pretty much everything that's around because we get lost a lot also sometimes in conspiracy, in researching conspiracy, and it gets to our heads and we think everything is evil around us and that they use that for evil purposes. Right. When we have to enlighten ourselves a little bit more to see the bigger picture, to see, you know, to not get cut into hypes and stuff. So use a critical thinking, scrutiny. It's the key.
Exactly, guys.
Yeah.
So if you want to see how Tor is the creator, you'll see how his Tori is made. Okay, it's made by Taurus fields. Okay, and so all of creation, which is a plethora, or even just a theory, is essentially coming through the sound of the letter T. Okay, so when we say all is atum, or all is atur, the torus fields, the atom is a torus field. Okay, there's no difference. All atoms, they're just little. An atom is an atom is just a gyroscope. It's like this. That's it. That's an atom. I can guarantee you that that is exactly what an atom looks like. Here you have two jets going outward, which you can't see. You can see this in the middle. And here you have a plane of inertia. And then eventually these two converge back again, and so does this side. And that is all there is. So you were talking about electrostatics before, okay? Well, that's electrostatics there. Here.
Look, interesting. I have a picture for you to show you here. One of my friends on Facebook posted that today. He was in Africa and he's in front of a statue that's it's something to do with ending mental slavery. And look what's on it.
Yeah.
It's a you get the ball hurt and the sign that you're making.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll finish with this because we're at closing time. And what was your question again? Say your question.
No, my question was I don't know. Was according to this picture the same symbol that you were making?
Yeah. Okay. Well, all the symbols come from here. All the letters of the alphabet, all the numbers, all symbols come from this. From the torus field. Okay, so whether you call it Tom or Tua, this actually, the atom comes from, the T is here. Okay, come in, guys. So you've got the Celtic cross, all right? So you've got, I'm just about finishing up. So the Celtic cross goes like this, yeah? Well, that's Tom.
Yeah.
T, O, and that line is the meridian. So it's Tom. You can't escape it. Here is Tom or Tor. And so either way you look at it, Tom is sound, okay? Backwards, you know, the French word for word is mot, right? Well, there's plenty of other words that come from here. Motor, like we looked at before. Motion. Matter, material. But
motivation.
In the end, sorry?
Motivation.
Yeah, but in the end, it's all about sound. This is sound, and also this is sound. For, thunder, sound. So this is how atoms work. Here you have the dielectric plane. Here you have magnetic waves, or what we call electromagnetic waves. So essentially, there are what scientists call the proton, the neutron, and the electron is here. They're not particles. They are parts, three separate parts, but only in description, because when you when you watch this, you'll see that the electron becomes the proton, becomes the neutron. They are all interchanging. So there's no electrons and there's no neutrons. It's just, you call them that in the stage that you find them in. That's what Dr. Walter Russell said. So he said if everything is vortexes like this, so what people are calling an electron is this compression aspect of the vortex. But at the other side, now you've got expansion. Well, that's the proton. Proton, electron. Electrons going in, compressing. Protons going out, radiating. Ra, pra, bra, Brahma.
And in the word electron, you have the word L. So going in.
That's right. Well, it's electrical. That's electricity.
L,
this is dealing with magnetism.
Election, you know.
Yeah, this radiation, this expansion, this is magnetism in its true nature. That is electricity. Electricity is not, it's compressing. And so what we have is dielectric, magnetic, and electric. So this is the anti-field, this is the field, and this is the field modality. Electricity is a material energy. It's a hybrid of these two. These two are the two co-eternal conjugate principles of dielectricity is what you called before electrostatics. It's static, it's rest. This is rest, this is motion. So the rest, we call it inertia and acceleration. Acceleration, and this magnetism is force and motion. Force and motion here. And that's what this is, force and motion. The proton, radiate, rarefaction, compression, rarefaction. That's why L, the blue, bell, blue is healthy, radiate, is redshift. The proton is red, red, blue. And so that's
so when you become a pro, you're expanding.
Hey?
When you become a pro, you're expanding. You're like,
yeah, exactly.
That's why they call them professional pro.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. You're growing out. You're expanding. You're not contracting. Yeah. The contracting is the energy of Saturn. Jupiter, Thor, is the energy of expansion. He is the beneficent one, the greater benefic in astrology. He is also magnanimous. Magnanimous, because magnetism means magnitude, time, and space.
Great. So I'll keep expanding and I'll become a pro at the Tru-Mon show.
Nice.
You're already a pro.
So guys, thank you very much. It was a pleasure again. I don't want to hold you too long, Santos. It's already 2 hours. It's been great. Thanks,
cool,
Rob.
brother.
Thanks, Millie.
Yeah.
And I have still a lot of subjects. Like next week, we're going to touch a lot of stuff. There's a lot of questions in the chat. I'm going to print it all. I want to touch the hyper-dimensional surface rather than a physical plane, cell salts, electrostatic field, Lucifer. I want to talk about Lucifer also. We were in the Bible. We forgot. I wanted to bring it on. So next week, we have a lot to talk about again. It's always very real. We're going to keep it real. We're not fake here. Tru-Mon Show is not a fake place. We're staying real, and we're going to be back next week, I guess, with Santos. Same time, probably, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So greatness. Thanks a lot, Santos. An honor always. I'm overwhelmed by. I am speechless. I become speechless when I'm with you.
I'm always speechless. Every time I want to speak about the beautiful holy science, I feel totally
timeless,
totally unworthy, and yet I understand it, so therefore I speak it. But always I feel very, very unworthy. And it's always a pleasure to be with you and people of similar enlightened mind. We are the ones who seek truth, which is the first principle, the first virtue of all of God. And think about truth, guys. Truth is Ruth. Okay? Truth is the Tori, the tree of life. Truth is first. Absolute truth rules the universe.
Greatness. So, thank you very much, and we'll see you again on the next Tru-Mon Show with the next guest. I'm on again tomorrow 2 times, and next week again. There's all kinds of show plan, and I'm always on the go, and I'm on the rise. I'm on the go. They can't stop me. Ha! Babylon, you're going down, Babylon. That's great.
Babylon's going down to hell. Rastafari.
Rastafari. Big up, everyone, and see you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Okay, bye.